Hello, visionary, and welcome to our channel. This is Raquel of Raquel and Davidian Unleash Your Genius, and I'm here in my queen bed to talk about a little bit of a different topic today. This is a very requested topic. For those of you who have undefined sacral, we're going to be discussing sex. So I will see you on the inside. All right, so we have a fun topic here for you today: projectors and sex. And to be honest, this is really all of our non-sacral beings. That's really what we're going to be talking about primarily. So it really does apply to our manifestors and reflectors as well. So let's go ahead and dive in. So let's look at the sacral center. So this is the square here. This is the body graph here. And this square one, this big arrow is pointing right here to the sacral center. This is very different from any of the centers based in the chakra system and how we look at it and how we understand it. I mean, there might be some similarities, but the way we're going to look at it is very differently. So the sacral center in human design, this is the center for life force energy, for consistent fuel. It's the center for work, for procreating, and of course, the center for sex. My motivation is innocent, so this is the picture I chose. All right. So when you're undefined, what happens is that in all of the undefined centers is that you amplify and absorb the energy around you. So you can imagine when we're talking about work, this is something we primarily talk about is the workforce energy and how the undefined sacral beings are caught up in the workhorse energy. They're caught up in the 9 to 5, and they're the ones that get really burned out. They're the ones who are, really in the rat race and getting the chronic fatigue and burning out their adrenals because they don't realize that that's not their energy. It's them living off of this energy, getting swept up in the movement. And we talk a lot about this when it comes to work and career and making money. But today we're going to be talking about it in terms of the other energy that's located here in the sacral, which is the sexuality and the sex. So you can imagine that 70% of the people, all of these generators, are running around with this sacral energy, this sexual energy, and the undefined, they like it and they want it. But you don't realize that it's not you. And so this creates, a ton of problems. You don't know when enough is enough. And so what does this mean? Well, you can kind of use your imagination where we're going with this. But, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. But some of you may have experienced, sexual addiction, or here we're going to also see addiction to any kind of stimulants as well to try and keep up, addiction to caffeine, to speed. It's going to show up in other ways as well. But when we're talking about this sexual energy, we're also going to see the attraction to the wrong people. With the sex addiction, it might be love addiction and that drama addiction. Really, the drama more comes from an undefined solar plexus. But if you've got both of those undefined, you might see this working a lot together in tandem. But you also might see addiction to certain people. You might be drawn to someone sexually, having no control of that draw, meaning there's something in that energy that you feel like you want, in that sexuality. And so you might be drawn to someone primarily based on that sexual energy. And also, this might lead to making some very bad decisions, either with your partners or your sex partners, because that energy is so overwhelming. It might be hard to really notice, A1, your strategy and inner authority, and if you're even being recognized properly. It goes the other way too. If you're a line 5, they might be projecting onto you or seeing you, because of the way you look, as opposed to because of your projector energy or what you're here to be recognized for. So this can get really muddy. Also, we might experience here this sense that great sex is love. And this is really for all of our undefined sacrals. They're going to feel this energy and not really know how to properly navigate it when it comes to sex. If you enter into a relationship correctly, or even if you didn't, the undefined sacral might reflect the sexual energy of the partner. So, in other words, it will take on that energy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, particularly if you're in the right relationship, if you're entering into the relationship properly. But if you're not, this could really be a negative thing. So all of a sudden, you're in the wrong relationship, you're not being recognized, and then you're taking on the sexual energy or the sexual desires of the partner. So you want to ask yourself if you notice that with each partner, your sexuality changes. You're kind of morphing sexually based on the energy of that partner. And this includes what you enjoy, how safe you feel, and what kind of kink you like. Wink. Wink. So let's contemplate this. If you're absorbing and amplifying the energy of the people around you, you're taking on the work, the life force energy, and the sexual energy of 70% of the population. So imagine how this might feel, what this might be like. Confusing, uncertainty, not really knowing your sexuality. And again, this is really just kind of very interesting because it's a big part of the sacral, and yet it's not the biggest part of the conversation when we're really dealing with projectors and generators. We're usually talking about the workforce energy and all of that. So it's a very interesting thing to kind of hone into. Now, when you're talking about the solar plexus, just for a minute so you can reference it, when you decondition from the emotions, you don't necessarily never feel an emotion again, right? So the solar plexus is the emotional center. And when you're undefined there, you may often be a drama queen or high drama or really, crazy, addicted to dramatic situations. And as you start to decondition, you realize that the emotions don't control you as much. And you can sort of just pay attention to the emotions moving through you. And you're going to notice very quickly that you're not so dramatically involved in the emotions. It takes some time, but it's such a relief when you can let that go. But it's not like you never feel an emotion again. You're going to feel emotions. They're just going to move through you in a beautiful way, and it's not going to be yours, but you can appreciate it and enjoy it on a much deeper level. And so this is kind of the same thing with the sexual energy. It's not that when you decondition, it's not that you're not going to feel the sexual energy. Look, we're all humans. We are designed to be sexual creatures. So, and people may argue with me against this and say, no, projectors aren't here to be sexual. I've had some people believe that, but I think there are other things in your chart that lean more towards the asexuality, bisexuality, and or if you're very heterosexual, there are other factors as well than just to say across the board all undefined sacral beings aren't here to be sexual. I just don't believe that's true. So, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below, and a great discussion being generated is great. What your experience is. Obviously keep it G, let's just say PG. This is not an open invitation to, get raunchy, but we can respectfully have a conversation about it, because once you lessen the addiction, just like with the solar plexus, what I was saying is you're going to be less addicted to it, be less drawn to being a drama queen, but you're going to be able to feel and appreciate the emotions. And so with the sexuality, you're going to be able to really connect sexually with your partner. If it's the right partner, you're absorbing and amplifying healthy sexual energy, then that's going to be a really positive thing if you entered into it correctly and you're being fully recognized. And then there's a very healthy way to be with that sexual energy. So this is the question, are we designed to have sex? Now, of course, like I said, it's super personal. There are a lot of other factors in the chart that will address your sexual orientations and your caring nature. Also, Ra has stated that projectors are not completely designed to have children. This is super controversial and really hard to manage if you're a projector who comes to this intel after you have a family and you already are a mother. So that can be incredibly painful and maybe not really even the best intel to give somebody, which is why I rarely, rarely talk about it. But this is something that Ra has said. I would never say that. That's just me coming from a spiritual background, and we have contracts, we have spiritual contracts. There are all kinds of factors. I personally don't give absolutes in human design because each person is so different. And I also have a deep spiritual background, and there's a lot of spiritual concepts that override some of the intel. And as you evolve, you even evolve out of some of the highest expression of some of these lower expressions in your human design chart. So in my opinion, this is sexual expression that is a healthy expression or an unhealthy expression based on how you're operating. Well, also, in my opinion, this is a sexual expression that is healthy or unhealthy expression that's based on who you are amplifying, your conditioning, your entering of a relationship correctly. So, all of these things really play into this healthy or unhealthy expression. You're also going to be prone to taking on other people's desire. Now, this also relates to other things like undefined ajna, which is something to pay attention to. If you don't feel sexual at all and there's sort of a neutrality there, or if someone's flirting with you and it doesn't make sense, or the sexuality doesn't make sense, or you have less of a sex drive or anything like this, everything you're experiencing is to be completely honored. And remember, this is a very personal journey. How this is reflecting in your life is based on your experience. So even though we may point to certain things about your design and try experimenting with this and experimenting with that, and some projectors may feel this, some manifestors may feel that, these are all just ideas and pointers. The whole point of this intel is for you to try it on and to see and contemplate what it means for you. So this is the center of sexuality. If it's undefined for you, how does it operate for you? Don't let anyone tell you what type of sexual being you should be. Sexuality is a very complicated and intense conversation. And of course, this is really just tapping the surface of this energy and what's possible and some things to contemplate. But I do think as we begin the process of deconditioning and as we learn who we truly are and why we're here, what our life purpose is, how to operate correctly as ourselves, then we begin to have and enter sexual relationships properly, beautifully, and with an amazing outcome. And if you're someone who's been addicted to the wrong people in the past, I do believe the more and more you lean into the truth of who you are and your inner authority and your strategy, you're led to the right people, the right relationships, and the right sexual expression. So I hope that was valuable for you guys. Please take the time to like this video. It really helps the algorithms. If you know any other projectors who need this, please share and spread the word. We're super grateful to have you in our community. Please stay tuned. We are going to be announcing our new membership site soon, where you will be able to get bonus videos and all kinds of other gifts by being part of. So we will share that with you soon. In the meantime, comment and let us know your sexual escapades.